Okay, let's get started. Blanca, let me know when we're ready.
Phil, are we live?
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Brooks.
Good
Dr.
afternoon,
Brooks.
everyone. Welcome to the Opportunity Youth Academy Governance Council meeting. It's Thursday, September 15th, 2022. I'm Dr. Jessica Bonduras, the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. Let's please start with roll call. Blanca?
I will gladly do so. Is Dr. Banderas in attendance?
Yes.
Derek Clark? He's absent. Is Dr. Brooks in attendance?
Present.
Joe Hansen is out today. And is Courtney Portal in attendance?
Yes, present.
Thank you.
Great.
Everyone's here.
Thank you very much. Moving on to adoption of the agenda. Can I please have an action to adopt the agenda?
I move that we adopt the September 15th agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Brooks. Have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Courtney. Public comments. Director Morales, are there any public comments for this meeting?
No public comments at this time.
Okay. Let's move on to consent action items. I know we have a presentation. So, the first action item is the resolution to continue meeting remotely in accordance with AB 361. And this is a consent action item, so we do need a motion on this.
Does it need a time? Is there any time specification, Dr. Bonduras?
This right now is not timed. This is something that we are following from our Board of Education, our trustees. And we will keep meeting remotely should the governor's executive letter allow for it.
Okay, so I move that in accordance with SCCOE policy that our meetings remain remote until further notice.
Thank you. And I will second that. And now the fun stuff, informational. We have an informational item on curriculum adoption and back on track model. And Courtney, I want to thank you for sending out the information you sent out prior. That was super helpful. Just happy to be back, everybody, and doing this good work, and excited to show you and see what we have in front of us for the curriculum adoption. What's the status?
Yes, thank you, everyone. Catherine, do you happen to have the presentation? Well, actually,
I do have it. Would you like me to share?
I think I can do it. Sorry, I can do it now. Just give me 1 second here. Go back.
Are you able to see that?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Oh, are you doing it there?
I've got it shared.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
The problem is I don't have the presenter notes on this particular power slide. So that's okay though. So thank you for having us present on this particular item or items. For the past several months now, Dr. Everett and a group of teachers, which we are now called the Curriculum Council, have been looking at some LMS, so learning management systems, because as of the end of this year, SciaTech will be moving on. They're not going to be providing their curriculum. And so we will be looking at adopting a new curriculum for OIA. And so Dr. Everett has led the group of teachers to explore different LMS systems, Edgenuity, Edmentum, FuelEd,
And Savas.
And
There were
yes.
4.
thank you, 4. And that's the details of that work is not in this presentation, but we're happy to share it if you'd like. But basically, through all of the different meetings with the representatives from these different companies, there were 2 that stood out as the top. One is Edgenuity and the other one is Edmentum. And so what we're going to do tonight is look at certain parts of those 2 LMS and show you how they align back on track model. And again, I just want to be clear, this is a very overview kind of presentation. And so there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of getting into the granular points of how the Edgenuity or Edmentum support the back on track model. But I'm just excited that we're doing this because this is really the first time that we've been able to take the back on track model that is in our charter and actually align it with curriculum and some of the activities that we're doing around college and career readiness. And thank you, Courtney, for sharing the back on track information, because sometimes I forget that folks don't know what the back on track model is. When you're in it, when you're in the work, it's easy to forget, that, oh, wait a minute, Dr. Brooks really doesn't know what the back on track model is. But anyhow, so the back on track model, again, is something that is in our charter. It was developed by Jobs for the Future. They created this model. And at the time of when OIA became a charter, it was included in the charter petition as a model that would be used not only to support students in meeting their high school completion, but I think more importantly, it's a model that we use to prepare students for college and career. And there's 3 phases to this model. The first 2 are really focused on students that are enrolled in OIA, students that are present, that are going through our school. The 3rd phase is what they call a first year support or +1 year. And that +1 year are for our graduates, mainly students that graduate, they go into community college or a trade school or a career. And we would be providing those students support. It could be helping them transition to a community college, finding out, or helping them find the resources at a particular community college, connecting them with counselors, or finding mentors or job share, or if they're going in the career field or that direction, helping them connect with some mentors and coaching and so on. Tonight, we're just going to really focus on phase 1 and 2 because that is where the curriculum aligns. Okay. So in every phase, there are elements. And so in phase 1, you have 3 elements. The first element is really around culture and mindset. The second element is around curriculum and instruction. And that's where we're going to really see how Edgenuity or Edmentum help support that particular element. And then the third element is around personalized guidance and support. And that's where you will see our college and career liaison providing some activities and under that element, and certainly our counselor, as well as our work with californiacolleges.edu and the work that we're doing with them, building out post-secondary plans. So under element 1, and when you look at the back on track model, and I don't know, Courtney, if you provided the full kind of model and all the details, what we did is we went in, okay, so what we did is we actually took from that phase 1, element 1, the goals that are aligned with what we're currently doing in OIA. There are so many goals under this element that we haven't even gotten to yet. So we wanted to be sure that we're just only highlighting the activities that are supporting these goals under this element. So really, element 1 is about culture, and it's helping the school, the staff, and the students shift from credit recovery high school completion to now a real an effort on thinking or helping our students see themselves as college students or as moving into a career or going to a trade school. So what you see is the first thing is our graduate profile that we were able to complete, and it's there. I don't know if you want to open it up, Catherine.
Oop, hold on.
That's okay.
We're excited about this.
Right. And so this is some work that we've been working on with our staff and with ConnectEd. They've helped us. This work started 2 years ago, trying to get to a point where moving away from our SLOs, which are the student learner outcomes, or the ESLers, if those ring a bell to you, to really shifting to a graduate profile. So what is it that we want our graduates to have skills to be able to move or be successful in a post-secondary pathway? And so the teachers did a lot of work around identifying these 3-4 areas, and then the specific skills that are related to those areas. The next step that we want to do is now move into how do we measure these particular skills. Catherine, do you want to talk a little bit more about this?
Yes. So it really did begin about 2 years, 18 months ago. And the WASC leadership team, which was put together because our WASC 3-year mid-cycle review is coming up in March, took that work that was done by all staff and then focused it and was able to develop the grad profile. Now that we're adopting what we were going to do this year was actually to curate and actually come up with some curriculum and rubrics so that we can measure progress of all of our students within the grad profile. But because we're bringing on a new curriculum, that work will now be shifted to 23-24 and the spring of 24-25 school year. But we're excited. These will be put into posters and added to classrooms, and then hopefully it'll become regular conversations and embedded in the curriculum. And that work is up and coming. So the team was able to get to this point. This poster, the flyer, was just developed and designed, and so we're really excited. They've got one more modification that they suggested to it, and we're going to get that done and then get it printed and out to the sites.
I see a question from Courtney.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it okay to just jump in, or would it be better to wait till the end of the presentation?
No, please.
Okay, thank you. I love this. This is a beautiful flyer. And I love that we're talking about these kinds of skills as building up the graduate profile, and that we're talking about how we're going to measure these things. I may have mentioned this survey with this group before, but we had piloted a survey, and OYA participated in that survey a while back. It's this survey company. It's called Hello Insight, but they have a specific survey called College and Career Readiness. And they measure the 5 social emotional learning skills that are most related to success in college and career. And it was the survey that we found after years and years of research that worked best for opportunity youth. And I see some overlap here with some of those key indicators in that survey and what you're thinking about here. So I'm happy to have further conversation or make some connections, or go into some deeper dive conversations if you're interested in an assessment or survey that can give you those kinds of measurements that you're looking for. And the other really cool thing about this tool is that it shows students like their capacities in each of these areas, and then it offers up areas of how your program can improve. It takes a big picture look and says, oh, it looks like this is an area where you may have a gap. Here's some suggestions on how you can improve that for your program. So you're also getting really good feedback about how your students are experiencing your program at the same time.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful for developing the rubric and not starting from scratch.
Great. Yeah, no, that's great, Courtney, and definitely would love to follow up with you on that, on how to use that survey. I do know that there's also some surveys in the californiacolleges.edu that we could also look at as well and maybe do a compare and see which survey really fits or provides the best measurement of this work. Okay. So as you can see, there's also the colleges that I just mentioned, californiacolleges.edu, our SVCT partnership, Career Labs, our San Jose Work Internship, and then our work-based learning continuum. The reason why we listed all of this is because what we want to do is, in order to shift culture or mindset, we need to message, and that's really big on the element one, is how do you message this shift? So leading with the profile, the California colleges, all of these things listed, I hope if we're consistent with the message, will then really shift the way that we approach our students, how we talk to them about school, and not as you have X number of credits you need to complete, or you have to recover this many credits. It's now more of how are we preparing you for post-secondary, and high school completion and credit recovery is just a small part of that process. So that's why in here you don't see Edgenuity and Edmentum in this, because this is truly about culture shift, mindset, messaging, promoting the college and career ready. Okay. This is where we will really start looking at the curriculum, and both Edgenuity and Edmentum as being the kind of the leads of where we're moving. This again is around curriculum and instruction. And I'm going to let Catherine talk about on this slide, particularly because she's been doing most of the work in this area.
So we've got the 3 columns. The goals are there to the left, and that's the curriculum and then the instructional strategies. So the 3 columns really do represent the 2 systems that we were looking at. I've narrowed it down to, actually, after a lot of work, the committee worked for 10 weeks on this and did a lot of ground investigative work. And then the 4th column is really the college and career readiness, and that kind of brings back into focus the other areas that we're working on, not just the academic. And so, as you'll see with Edgenuity and Edmentum, there are some similarities, and those were very apparent in the beginning. And then the committee decided to dig even deeper and ask a lot of questions. We actually put together a rubric that with all of the teachers' questions, the committee questions, and then they got other questions, and I don't know, there were quite a few. And then that rubric was sent out to actually 3 of the systems that we were looking at that time. And then we did a crosswalk to see where they could even answer more questions. So what actually came out of it was the catalogs are similar, with the exception of there is a more robust CTE elective selection in Edgenuity that the teachers really did like. And there are credit recovery courses. Edmentum did not have those. The curriculum is actually designed with the students in mind. And so when a student interacts with the system, it is by far more student, the experience that the students are going to get is, it's far superior actually than it is to Edmentum. And the differences are really in the outward facing, just the toggling, the buttons, everything that students are using. And then the support. The support is really embedded on the screen, and with Edmentum, it kind of took students off the screen. Also with, I'm sorry, there's some noise going on in the background. If you'll just give me a second, I'm going to shut my door.
They're vacuuming the hallways.
My apologies. So also within Edgenuity, what they've done is they've taken a look at CASP, right? The assessments that students take in the spring, and they've embedded some of the key characteristics of those assessments in their assessments and in how students maneuver through the course itself. And so the curriculum committee, they recognized that, they did like that. And then also both platforms offered CTE courses for hire, if you want to. So you could actually place a student in a CTE course for an additional fee with a certified CTE instructor. For Edmentum, I'm not really quite sure who they were going out with, but for Edgenuity, it was eDynamic Learning. There was a cost difference, but that really wasn't something that they were looking at. They did note that they both offered that. So were there any, oh, and the MyPath. So there's a big difference with the support that's offered through the differentiated intervention with MyPath, which is through Edgenuity, and ExactPath, which is through Edmentum. With ExactPath, they were recommending doing their own internal assessment, which we were really interested in learning about. But once we dug a little bit deeper, we found that their reports were not robust, and we wouldn't have been able to gather a lot of the data that we were needing. So also with MyPath, once a student takes an assessment, the next assessment that they take in RenStar, whatever the gains are, MyPath in Edgenuity actually automatically adjusts the remedial work that's assigned to the student that the teacher can actually assign. And so that was a plus as well. So there were a lot of similarities, but once the curriculum committee dug a little deeper, they found that there were some significant differences.
Thank you, Catherine. Any questions about that or?
Yep.
Nope. Okay. And then element 1.3 is around personalized guidance and support. And we looked at specifically the SEL courses that both Edgenuity and Edmentum calls BASE. But I think you could see that they both have a catalog of great SEL courses that our teachers were really excited about. They offer one-on-one tutoring, it's on demand. And again, there's the MyPath course. So in terms of guidance and support from both LMS companies, they provided equal support to meet this particular element. Our phase 2 is now the post-secondary bridging. So you have students that are starting the exploration of careers in colleges or opportunities. Both Edgenuity and Edmentum can support in the academic and instruction pieces, along with guidance and support. And the post-secondary is the group of students that are preparing to actually graduate and go into phase 3. So there's only 2 elements, and if you want to move on. Focus on college knowledge and success strategies. Again, Edgenuity and Edmentum have very similar curriculum and supports that they provide. College and career readiness, we're going to use heavy strategies or activities in californiacolleges.edu. And then our work-based learning continuum all the activities that are in under that continuum are around internships and mentoring as students start preparing to move on to that post-secondary. And then I'll let Catherine talk a little bit about this, since this is the slide that she put together.
This is the really exciting part of our program, is what are those additional supports that we offer students that really kind of elevate us on that back on track model. And so these 3 columns will represent the 3 goals that are there on the left. And our students enter our school in a lot of different, I don't know, they could enter in senior year and be in their first semester, but it may take them 18 months to finish. They might be a 9th grader, but it may take them a year to finish or 2 years to finish. So they move through our curriculum and the program at different speeds, at different rates. And so this represents a little bit of what that might look like. And so you'll see across the top, you've got grade 9, year 1, or semester 1. So this kind of encompasses where a student it may be that they're an 11th grader and this is semester 1 for them, or it's year 1 for them. And then in each one of these columns, you're going to see what occurs during that time period. And then it's broken out by college and career liaison and the work-based learning coordinator. So what you'll see here for the college and career liaison are really California College's activities, californiacolleges.edu activities. You'll see dual enrollment to the far right. And also in here would be our counselor, our academic counselor. She does have the financial side that she'll be working with the students in as well, along with the college and career liaison. And the internships, the on-the-job training, any clinical. So all of that's down here on this bottom row with the work-based learning coordinator, which we are doing some of this already. And then we're really excited about building this program out even more. Okay.
Wonderful. And then our phase 3, if you want to go to the next slide, is again that first year support. And we didn't put anything together for this particular slide, only because we really need to focus on our phase 1 and phase 2 if we truly want a strong, well-developed phase 3. So we got to do 1, 2, and then 3 will come at a later time. Particularly when we have a support to do that. So thank you. What I would love to hear from all of you is feedback on this particular presentation, details, what else should we be thinking about or include. We will be presenting this presentation to Dr. Dewan at the board meeting in October. And so, yeah, I'm just going to open it up and kind of get your thoughts about this. And I will sit back and take notes.
Great. Thank you so much, Phil and Catherine. It's really wonderful. So much work, and it's beautiful to see it aligned.
Thank you. We are really excited.
Can you remind the purpose of, or maybe 2 things are kind of happening at once. You're looking at Back on Track and how you want to like more deeply implement that in your program, and then also trying to find the right academic program that aligns best with Back on Track.
Yes.
Have you all engaged with JFF at all, the creators of the Back on Track model?
I did when I first started here at, and have not had an opportunity to go back to, I forget her name, Courtney.
Terry might
yes.
not be there anymore.
Okay.
But regardless, I'm sure they'd have some really great insight on the types of curriculums available that really align. Back on Track is years and years and years of evidence for Opportunity Youth. And so I'd imagine yeah, I might start there and see if they have any
Yeah.
insight on that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think another goal, Courtney, is also the data rubric along with the alignment. So how do we know that we're making progress, and where do we need to intercept and change, right, mid-course?
Mhm.
You just reminded me, and you might be talking about that in a different way, but we have an actual back on track assessment. And we've done this with San Jose Conservation Corps. It's a pretty lengthy assessment, but it goes through each and every element and detail. And you can like kind of rate yourself on it, answer yes or no, and it gives
Yeah.
you a score. And this isn't to say, I mean, you shouldn't be doing all of those things anyways, right? Really the
Mhm.
spirit behind Back on Track is that you're partnering deeply with other organizations to fill in those gaps, but it's hard to know who and where to partner if you're not sure exactly where those gaps are. So
Mhm.
that assessment would help you identify that. So we have access to that.
Yeah, the website, so JFF website has all of the toolkits on there. And
Okay,
so,
good.
yeah, and I've pulled all of that info and have been, I go to that website every now and then to kind of look
Mhm.
at what is the current
Great
articles and research that's being
Mhm.
kind of put out. But yeah, Back on Track is a wonderful model, and a lot of organizations, schools, particularly opportunity schools, use this particular model or pieces of it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Did
can go ahead, Phil.
did when you're in the presentation, you're doing it, it's one thing, but from looking at it and hearing it, do you see the alignment happening? Is it kind of clear? Are we connecting the dots? Because this is it is a harder, for me anyway, when I've been sitting with BOT, it's always been a challenge for me to kind of plug in the dots and make the connections with curriculum, and then all of the activities that we're doing with career labs and so on. But when we were presenting it, did you feel that we were making those connections in alignment with, did it make sense?
Yes, it made sense. And I'm probably of the group, the one who's farthest removed from the actual work.
Okay.
And it did make sense to me. So I think you articulated your intention and your goals pretty clearly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Good.
One thing that might be helpful is, because the one element that is in all three of, or one of the elements that's in all three of the phases, is that personalized guidance and support.
Mhm.
And so there might be a way to, like, in each of your tables is maybe like layering at the bottom, right, the personalized guidance and support, and sort of like showing how that's consistent through each of the phases and the activities that are taking place that then support
Mhm.
involvement in the curriculum. Seeing heads nodding, but I hope I'm making sense.
No,
You
actually,
are. Yeah, that's great.
that actually makes great sense. And when I look at that particular element, Courtney, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when I reflect on that element, I immediately go to the roles. So
Mhm.
who is kind of doing what
Mhm.
in those different goals?
Mhm.
So I like what you're saying, and I think maybe it's an opportunity to plug in personalized guidance and support in element 1,
Mhm.
right? We would have goals specific around what are teachers doing, what are
Right.
counselors doing,
Mhm.
right? And so so that's how I viewed it in terms of that particular. Is that kind of what you're thinking, that
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what
I
they
think,
mean by that?
I mean, role clarity is such a big important part of Back on Track also, because
yeah.
you got so many different people trying to do so many different things. And
Mhm.
so, yeah,
Okay.
you could like pull out the elements of personalized guidance and support that you all are doing. And maybe it's like the teachers, navigators, counselors, college and career liaison, and like, I don't know, I'm already trying to like move things around in my head,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a way to visualize that. So it's just like very clear who's doing what and what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I like that.
And we have a new position that we're recruiting for as well.
Yeah.
What's that position?
work-based learning coordinator. So the
Oh, right,
person,
okay.
so that should be, that actually would be doing all of this work.
Nice.
We know any
So it's
better.
interesting that you brought that up, Courtney, because that was another area which put Edgenuity kind of up at the top. Teachers are able to personalize the course that the student is enrolled in, and the other system, you could not do that. So they could add content or other information that would really personalize that lesson for the student. And the teachers felt that that was really a need for our students. So
That makes sense. I mean, that is an equitable approach, right? Making sure that different students with different needs can personalize not just their curriculum, but the type of support they're receiving from staff. So
Mhm.
that's important.
Right. So I know that you'll be bringing this topic back,
Mhm.
and it'll be really fun to see the progress and see how it transforms and what the selection is ultimately.
Right. Yes, and I think what I'm more excited about is getting into the more kind of specific details in the plan, where we are
Content.
saying that teacher will be doing this, and this, as we just talked about, but then also including the different types of measurements in the plan, and when we will be doing, actually, provide or administering those measurements, whatever they may be. So really I think we're in a great position right now to be doing this work, because eventually it will be a kind of our blueprint for moving forward on everything that we do. Whenever we're looking at initiatives or new programs or adopting whatever, it comes back into this back on track model, and how does it fit in this plan? And it's not just that we're doing things just to do them, but how is it supporting this model, moving forward? And where does it fit in what element and what goal? I think that's something that we have missed for the last few years. And now we're at a point where we're putting it together, and it's really exciting to see the pieces kind of come in, and then also identify some of the gaps in the plan as well. Yeah. So yes, I will be bringing this back to the Governance Council as a topic of discussion, hopefully at every meeting, just kind of what are we doing with this model?
Great. Thank you so much. Our next informational item is Governance Council membership recruitment.
Yes, thank you. So we need to recruit. I sent an email out to JCAN, which is the juvenile. What does JCAN stand for, Dr. Mendoza? What is it again? Juvenile
Court Aligned Action Network.
Thank you, Courtney.
I'm in that group, so I saw the email.
So we did receive a few replies. One of them from Alex Villa, who's interested and submitted an application, which is wonderful. And I received one, also one from, I can't remember her name, but she's from the FLY program, who's also interested. And also another individual who didn't identify what organization she's part of, but is also submitting an application, is interested in serving on the JC. So we're getting interest, which is wonderful, because we've always wanted a larger council and memberships. We've been actively recruiting for students, because I know it's important to have students on this council. And so teachers are suggesting or recommending some students. What I've said to the teachers, though, is please don't recommend a student that is like, a month away from graduating. If we can get somebody that is going to be with us a little longer, although we will take students, right? I guess my ask to all of you is, are there other groups that I should be sending messages out to, or anybody else that you think I could send a flyer to? Because that's something I know Dr. Benduras and I have talked about, is creating a recruitment flyer for the JC or for the GC. So any thoughts around recruitment, or where else should I go?
Have you thought about reaching out to the youth forum? I mean, those are a lot of the former OIP partners who make up that group, and there's definitely some overlap between that group and JCAN, but
Okay,
you'd get some folks that aren't in the JCAN group.
I'll do
or
that.
Youth forum.
Okay, I can certainly do that.
And just if you are around in a group in a meeting and you're thinking, just keep it at the forefront of your mind that, you know, we are actively looking,
Yeah,
would be helpful.
that's so, and I knew that, yeah, so that's all I had on recruitment and just
Okay.
kind of what we're doing right now. And we should have at least by the next governance council meeting, I'm hoping, you know, three new members plus a student rep by our next meeting.
It's a goal. I made an error and forgot to do an action on the minutes from our last meeting. So if we could just take a minute and review those minutes, I know Phil sent them out to everyone, and it is an action item that we need to move forward with on the minutes.
I motion to move minutes. Or I motion to approve minutes.
I second. And I always second because I always forget how to say the first part. I'm always just seconding things.
The way you do it is just say, I move to approve. So now you can be run point on all of those. The last item is something that Phil and I decided to put on each of these meetings, and it's just council members may provide a report on recent activities. I know everyone's doing their own stuff as it pertains to the work in some way, right? And so I think it would be cool if everyone could just share out what they're doing, or not everyone, but anyone who wanted to share out what they're doing. Dr. Brooks?
More of a request than a report. I attended the OIA graduation in the spring, and it was lovely. That was such a fun event. I was really happy to be there. And if there are more opportunities for us to engage with the youth in the program, I would appreciate knowing about those.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Same.
Yes, absolutely. We will send out maybe, and Catherine, we could probably do this, but send out kind of a calendar to the council members of just kind of upcoming events. And we had some open house or back to school opportunities just in the last week. And we have pictures and classes were filled. And the reason why is because we shifted all of them to the evening.
Mhm.
Who would have thought, right? So because of that, more people were available to participate. So that was really exciting. But yes, we'll send out a list of events so you can at least know what's coming up.
Great, thank you.
Mhm. Courtney, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, first of all, I love this idea. I think it's just so hard to stay connected with all of the different efforts that are going on. So I really appreciate the thinking behind this. Some of you may know that a big part of my work these days is helping to organize the Youth Liberation Movement. It's a group of about 15 young leaders from across the county who have received services from former OIP partners. One of them is one of your students, Mia Carrasco. They've been very involved in YLM from the beginning. And things are going really well with that group. They've joined different county collaboratives. They've gone through various trainings like human-centered design, participatory action research. Last year, we had our pilot Amity Youth Summit. And this year, YLM is taking that on as a project. And so last year, the model was like adult allies doing most of the work with a little bit of input from young people. We're trying to flip that model. So the young folks of YLM, they're going to be leading, designing, executing the summit with support of adult allies. So I'll send more information your way when we get more information about when. I think we're going to move that to the fall instead of having it in the summer. But So that's coming soon. And we're, just working on continuing to build out their model and their organization. We're partnered with the San Jose Conservation Corps as our fiscal sponsor. So we've gotten a lot of support from them in terms of infrastructure, but it's just been really cool to be a part of this this movement of young leaders, especially because it started from OYP. We had started the YLC, which was just meant to be an advisory board to OYP. And so it's just completely changed the model. It's entirely led by young folks. And so you may be hearing from Mia in the future. Mia is also supporting the work of the Bill of Rights for Children and Youth, Santa Clara County, that Kids in Common is leading. So Mia is actually one of our fellows who's working on that Bill of Rights. And of course, we want OYA students to share their voice in that. So exciting things coming your way and coming down the pipeline.
That's great. One of the things that we've been working on in all of the departments that I lead is the seal of civic engagement and opportunities for our youth to be of service in their communities and lead in different ways. And that, goes across alternative education, OYA, special education, and even thinking about it at the Head Start state preschool level. And so just exciting things to come, and partnering with the professional learning division and seeing how that can appear in our classrooms in a really thoughtful way and in culturally relevant manner, to work with all of our families and our students about making a difference. Yeah. We also, I want to celebrate the fact that we have a student board member that's going to be at our board of trustees for the County Office of Education. We have a board member and an alternate, and they'll be introduced next Wednesday evening. So very excited about that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So good things. And I want to say welcome back, everybody. 22-23 school year.
My.
I know. Good to be together for another year. It's been really awesome to be back, and our kids are back, our staff is back, and everyone is really excited and pumped and ready to do the work. And it's tough, and we're in it together. So I'm very happy to be here with you all also, and just really appreciate your support and input and expertise. So thank you.
May I share something else, Dr. Bandouris? So two things. One is we're back in a big way. We are already at max, so we're at 380 students. So that's a good thing for OIA, and our attendance or their participation is solid at 60-65% attendance. So that's wonderful news. And we have 10 students at Metro Ed that are they are fully engaged in the work there. We purchased all of their materials, their welding materials, their scrubs, the chef tools, all of that. And so they're really excited, these group of 10 students, and they're doing just great work and are making friends with students across the county, and it's incredible to see. So if you ever have a chance and you want to go over and visit the Metro Ed site, please let me know. It's great to drop in and talk to these students that are there all day. I mean, they go and they show up at 7:30 in the morning. They're doing work at OYA work, and then they go off to their class, and then they come back and they have lunch, and then they hang out and do more work. And so it's really incredible to see this group of 10 students talking about their future, and talking about getting certified as an electrician. And one student was taking a video of they wired a light, from the bottom up. And so they were taking a video, and they were so excited about this work that they're doing. And they were just pulling the wires, and they were showing Bobby, and and this is a student that's like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is so cool. So So, you know, if you have an opportunity and you want to go over and meet these wonderful, wonderful students, just let me know.
Great.
It's a great place.
And thank you, Catherine. Career Labs 14 starts on Monday with 25 kids. That's awesome. Good. Thank you, Phil, for that report out. It's really wonderful to celebrate them. Okay, everybody. Go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah, sorry. I just want to squeeze something in real quick. There's a couple of different conversations that are all coming together for me right now, and I think in the spirit of you know, the school year starting and you guys starting out on like such a huge high note, I've been reflecting on my role in this council, especially since you had sent out that email, Phil, to JCAN. I was really reflecting on like the purpose of this group. And I've been thinking about some suggestions to help us think about the year and different activities or things that we can do, not just that will that will be helpful in onboarding new members, but also help us be more grounded in the mission of OYA. And so we don't have time now, but I'll send an email following this following this meeting, and hoping we could maybe put those on the agenda to discuss at a next meeting.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That'd be great. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, with that, I wish you all well. Have a wonderful